All right, guys, welcome back to Beautiful Mind. Today we have a big update, and I just want to say I'm really grateful and thankful to all of you, all my viewers, all my subscribers, and everyone that just messaged me. And I appreciate your feedback. Your questions are awesome. Thank you for that. And the overwhelming support for the online courses, and they are. They're ready for your viewing and they're flying off the shelf. So thank you to that. If you're new here, I'm Roland Attenborough. I'm the leading GAN scientific and analytical researcher, and this is my website. You can go on here. I point out, and I have the natural square here. This instrument you can utilize to forecast better than the pros. Also, I have an in-person workshop in Mexico, and that's coming up. Has all these things in here, which we go over, is the square of nine, and I discuss in great detail all these attributes. And in the afternoon, I have in this course, I have the in-depth time cycles and original GAN documents, and we create forecasts for Bitcoin and the S&P 500, and these are designed to build your knowledge so you understand how I'm doing it. And the course includes a square of nine, of course, and the same with our online workshop. It is exactly the same as our in-person workshop, except for I'm just not there in person. It includes the square nine, and I ship that to you. It has the online is very in depth. It's really large. It has a lot of attributes that we go over, and I try to make it as clear as possible. In part two, we do a deep explanation about the time cycles and everything that we would learn in an in person, we do on the online courses, and I do all of it with the work showing so that you understand how to do it while you're doing the online courses. However, it's much more advantageous for you to do it in person because I force you through it and you actually do the work instead of stumbling around. So I'm always there to correct that. So these exercises also include an S&P 500 forecast. So if you're a stock trader and whatnot, you'll have three forecasts inside that course. This is the best value right now. So just go on up and hit this blue. You can hit this blue link here, or sorry, not that one. You can go on up to the blue links here. Here's a PayPal link here, and it'll direct you to the payment options. So that's our website. That's the courses that we do on forecasting. I specialize in that, and I of course own all his books and courses, and have taken the original GAN forecasting course some 20 years ago, and I own 6 of the 12 coins, the coins that were given out for the right answers. And after the sixth question, I was asked not to answer anymore. So I own 50% of those original coins from that seminar. All right, so let's just take a look at what Bitcoin has been doing, and then we're going to take a look at my forecast, and we're going to dive right in. But let's first now go take a look at our indicators because, well, sometimes they can be good or misleading. So at this point in time, you can see our RSI is making its way back down. After breaking through this 40, I've been talking about this 40 being very critical. We have a couple of crisscrossing lines here, and getting below this, if we get any overhead resistance here, then it's Humpty Dumpty, and it's down into this area, and probably into March, and this is our 62 day count. We're going to talk about those in a minute. So the RSI here looks like it's going to bottom and it's still not showing it's bottomed yet. However, I'd like to see it sit in this area for a bit and then get some strength and move up. After having a death cross here, we're having a lot of movement back down again. You can see by the red bars here that the sellers stepped right in, the buyers took right off here, and it doesn't look like the sellers have finished their business yet. So it's possible and likely we're going to have some more movement downward and sideways. Stochastic made a death cross here. The buyers took off, the sellers took control. We haven't had a golden cross yet. We are having a bottoming phase, but I'm expecting that we do something like this. We need to do something like this. We need to do our 62-day count and shake out the weekended longs. Okay, so we've looked at our indicators. So why has Bitcoin had this pullback that I knew was going to happen? 1 year ago, I make my forecasts, and I derive all of those from astrological and the natural reoccurring phenomena. I talk about these things in my courses as well. Why has Bitcoin had a pullback when I said we would have a top around the 13th? And I was 2 days off on my forecast. Well, we had this sensational stuff going on where people were thinking that they were going to get exposure to Bitcoin when, of course, they're buying ETFs, and that is an exchange traded fund, and it has absolutely zero exposure to Bitcoin. Your money is still staying in the fiat derivative market. You don't have custody of Bitcoin buying an ETF. If you want Bitcoin custody, you need to mine Bitcoin and trade Bitcoin on a cryptocurrency platform and trading exchange. Okay, so we were talking about this pullback that was going to happen, and I was expecting that we could continue on to the 19th and the 17th before having a really fast move down. And it started to come on that 13th when I was stating that it's possible that we could have a big top come in, and we could start having a lot of savage moves. And our swings are starting to get larger, and it's kind of like a speaker, right? The movements of this keep amplifying deeper and wider. So with that in mind, breaking our 40, as we were talking about in our square 9, our 40 here is a really critical area, and we need to hold on to this 40 right here. It's really important that we stay above that. If we start to dip below, then you bet we're back to 37, 34, and as you can see, that's in this area here and our 34. So it's likely we could revisit these areas. Also, not to rule out that I think that it's possible we could sit back down on our old tops at 32 and 31 here. And what are we talking about with those? Well, we're talking about these tops right here. I think it's very likely and possible that we in fact come back and revisit this area right here, and before we get traction. And that would make sense because, as you can see from my trajectory in my trend lines, and you should be having trend lines as well, as a trend is your friend and will help you to ascertain when a market is making a top or when it is making a bottom. And if we follow along these, they catch the areas where we could expect a change in trend. And this is the vibration. This is our tunnel through the air right now. And this is what Bitcoin's doing. It's vibrating between these 2 points. and it's making very wide swings now. So be very cautious. Okay, now we're going to go talk about our day counts. I like to address that because I'm going to show you some things. We've been talking about these 62 day counts, right? Okay, everyone has been watching me, right? We have our 62 day counts. Okay, we have a few of them. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, we have a couple of 62-day counts right in here. See? And each one of these, we could measure a 60-day count and find something in here. Let's just take a look at this one. And then we're going to just keep moving forward and find our other 62-day counts, right? There's our bottoms. Okay. So let's take it from our breakaway here. This one's really interesting too. I mean, it's 62. Where is it going to be? Right? That's right, guys. Right at our change in trend, right? Okay. 62-day counts. Where could we expect a bottom? Well, our first one, we had our December 9th. I was talking about we were going to come up, make a top, and we would do a channel and move sideways. I made that 1 year in advance. You guys shouldn't be surprised about that. This is just what William Gann does. And I, of course, re-replicate his methods and do everything I can to make it absolutely accurate as possible. So let's go take a look at this one. A 62-day count for you guys to watch out for in the future. Okay. What day is that going to be? February 8th. I expect that there could be a bottom coming in. Why? Well, we've seen this 62-day count reoccur from all our tops. I can go back further and find our 62-day counts, and it just continues on. Okay, so we've done a 62 from there. The next one would be in this area right here where our other top is. All right. So that'd be like a February 17th or something, or 20th. There we go. It's the 21st to 22nd. So there's another date in February where it's possible we have a bottom. It could be a higher bottom. Doesn't necessarily have to be a lower bottom, but you know, it could be. Let's take a look at this top here. And this is a critical one. It's got a dead cat bounce right inside of it. So I'd expect early March we could be seeing a lot of volatility again, right? Okay, so our cycle top for the year, or for that last range in our last year, we're coming out, right? 62 days, guys, right? So right near St. Patty's Day, that's right. You get ready to buy Bitcoin. It's very possible and likely that we have a swift turnaround. And not to forget that we're going to have a major top in August and September. Mars will be conjunct Jupiter, just dropping some more gold bars. Anyways, that's our 62-day count here for the next time where we could see a possible area where a very good investment choice could come around. So pay attention to that. That's possible. So looking at that, we're going to look at our 180 days because I think it's important that we go out 180 days and find out where we could as well find a point in time that would be an area where we can buy or sell. So I was telling you this, we could have some problems in March here. We have a 62-day count here that comes right into that. And I just want you to notice that. Also, with these measuring bars, I was teaching you about this in my previous tutorials. These measuring bars can be used to forecast, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Let's do that. Okay. I am going to come out the 180 days, and you're going to see something. Okay, so this bar here inside this measuring tool is really important. These halfway points of the square, really important. What's so important about it? Well, it's caught our bottom from our tops. Note that when we take this out, 90 days is right here, or halfway of the 180-degree cycle. We have a top. I expect that when we get over to this period, we'll be around this price level. And you can see this bar is connecting perfectly and is in line with our 180-day count, that we would be in the lower 30s by around this February and March. It's possible, unlikely. So I just wanted you to pay attention to that. So these are how we find some extra dates and places in the future. If we don't have a square nine, we're using the measuring tool to be our square nine and get our points, right? Because our red lines on here, these are our 8 octaves of the year, guys, right? So 90 degrees, right? Right? 180 degrees, these 2 lines here. So that's what this represents. So if you don't have a square nine for me, or you haven't taken one of my courses, you can easily identify and find changes in trend and use this tool to your advantage. And I really want you to do that. I want you to better help yourself and your family, and help your community. Okay, so that kind of wraps up a little bit of that. We've talked about all our 62-day counts. We are 180 days right to here from this. So what about this one here? Right? 180 days from June. What do you think happened there? Right? What do you think happened there, guys? Let's go take a look. Well, that's just what I do. There's your 180 days right there, guys. See that? Look at that. And we have this great big pullback right onto that bottom there. Right 2 days from, or 3 days from, our major top here. I mean, it's just, and you notice the halfway point again called our bottom in. We called it right there. So it is very possible and likely that you can determine the price, the velocity, and the dates when changes in trend may occur. So pay attention to that. I've just showed you a few more things. Anyone late to the party, I was telling you to keep your stops just underneath, and I felt that they were going to start looking for your stops. And sure enough, it looks like that's underway right now. So if you're late to the party, don't despair. There's going to be plenty of time to get back into this market once we settle back down. If we do not hold these areas and this building block area, then we are going to be back down to this area. And that would take place rather quickly. So I don't expect that to take place at this moment. However, breaking this long trend here from our base would indicate, or be indicative of, a move back down to this area. So we don't necessarily want to see Bitcoin come back to this area, but it's possible it could do that. It's a very volatile asset. It's the apex predator of assets, and there's nothing more successful than the price or the asset class of Bitcoin. Absolutely nothing. Nothing has gone up in value as much as Bitcoin has, even though it's gone up to 69,000 and pulled back to 15,000. Yeah, it's still the most successful thing. Everything else has pretty much gone down in value. Okay, so we've taken a look at our full year. You guys have had a look at my forecasts. They have stated that we would be seeing a lot of volatility throughout the year. And in that, these are my writings. You guys have seen my Bitcoin forecast quite a few times in the past. This is my forecast that I drew out 1 year in advance as to what I think Bitcoin was going to do. I have my price scales on the side at 15,000 and they go up to 45,000 in the middle of this pink. My scale, we came up to the 38 and almost 40,000 in my forecast here. I called our April top out, and of course our bottoming areas in the summertime as well. I called them out as well. I called out these bottoms May 2022. I called out that bottom and I showed you those. I'm going to just show you that because I think it's important to really just understand how in the heck I am able and capable of doing these types of things. And I would like to show you that you can do these things too. You just need to follow the methods and applications. So I did this Bitcoin forecast May 2nd, 2022. And in that, if you watch my tutorials on that, I'd like to point out that I was putting question marks on all these possible dates in the future from our two tops that we had at 65 and 69,000. And I found them and nailed all of them exactly. Even our last September sequence at 22 months. So our last one is February at 27 months. And after 27 months, we have a bottom or a higher bottom, and Bitcoin takes off. And we are about to come into our 27-month count, and it's looking very possible and likely that we are going to have a pullback and retest or sit on these areas right here. It looks like it's in the cards, and it would take something very terrific to turn this around and break through this ring. And as you know, these rings are quite powerful. Once we break above these rings, the energy is let loose. So, will we see the same thing? You have to buy a forecast from me and find out what's in that forecast. So, I just wanted to point that out that anybody can do this if you have the right starting point. You can figure out how far down it's going to go in percentage level, in price, as well as you can figure out what months or weeks or days where it will be making a change in trend. So I've showed you all this. You can go back and look at my several tutorials where I totally tear this completely apart and show you how it all worked on the 3 previous campaigns of Bitcoin over 12 years. And I do all that from the monthly chart, and go take a look at those tutorials. Okay. With that, you now have my feeling of what Bitcoin is going to do. I told you that we were going to pull back into that area. Let's go have a revisit of my ephemeris where I tell you some things that were going to happen. Let's go revisit that. Back in December, I told you we'd have a swing top on the 9th and the 10th and that we would go sideways. That's what I said right here. 1 year ago, I made this up and I said that we would make a topping pattern around here and we would be going sideways. And that I said that we would make a top around the 30th and we would have some lot of volatility. Holy crap, did we ever. We had this crazy dead cat bounce right here. So let's just go take a little look at that because I get a lot of comments about how I'm able to do this, and I get the odd one that I'm off by a day or two. I don't really worry about that because I do this a year in advance. So one day is really not a big deal to me. So let's go take a look at January now. My January states right here. Now I write this stuff out a year in advance, guys. So I could be off by a day or two. It's just it can happen. So I'm stating here, right? January, right? Right up around this area, Saturn was going to come back for the third time to this third degree, and that I felt that we were going to have a swing top in there, and it could extend to the 13th. This swing top. Well, it only made it to the 11th, and then we had a very fast move down. And I was telling you that, or explaining to you, that on the 17th and the 19th of January, there'd be fast moves down, and that they could occur from the 13th when we get their swing top. All right. And that we would have some swing, another possible lower swing top on the 23rd here. Well, I don't know. It could be a really lower swing top. And then we get another swing low on the end of the month here on the 29th. So is that going to happen? We were talking about this, right? And then Pluto, right? It's back to the place where it was when it made a low. And what happened on the 13th, right? We had this crazy pullback, as you guys know, right here, right there. So you can see how accurate my forecasts are. I called for a swing top on the 1st to the 3rd and a nasty fast move down. Well, that is exactly and precisely what happened. And I do all this 1 year in advance. And it's only because I study William Gann's work and that I'm able to uncover the true mysteries and the market vibration. And doing so, I'm able to do that with great accuracy. And I'm very grateful for the hard work that I have in fact done. And the proof of all of this is in the work here. So if you like the work that I'm doing, then state so in the comments. I'd really like to hear your feedback on my gift to you that the Lord has given me. I'm really grateful for that. So anyone that's looking for a course or wishing to understand more about this, hit me up. I'm always around. I'm available all the time. So thank you very much for having me as a guest today. And I look forward to being with you and going over this stuff. And at the end of the month, I'll reveal my monthly forecast for Bitcoin. And we're just going to maybe take a look at that right now, too, and just touch base on that. I feel that's kind of necessary. And let's just take a moment to go visit that. Now, you have to understand now, I won't show you my forecasts because for my new year, because obviously they're time sensitive and they have cost a lot of money for people to do these types of things. So let's just go take a quick look at my forecast here and see what I'm talking about. So I was stating in my forecast that we could come up and in January we could make it up into the high 40s and possibly touch this 52, 53 level, but we didn't hit that. And then around the 20th, we were going to have a lot of volatility. Now, I don't want to show the rest of I do wish to show it, but you'd have to purchase it from me because I have many researchers who have purchased these. And this is time sensitive material. And at the end of the month, you'll see what the rest of my forecast has got in store for January. And then February and March is another pretty big month. Anyways, I thought I'd show you that. These are forecasts that I make. I've already made the 2025 Bitcoin forecast. You can get that in my online course too. And yeah, you can get 3 forecasts in that one. That one's a pretty good setup, I think. Okay, guys, peace and love. Thank you for having me as a guest, showing you my work. Anybody can do this. You just have to take my courses and learn the work that William has penned in his books and courses. And I'd be delighted in showing you those things. All right. Peace and love, guys. Keep your stops tight and just be really careful out there, okay? There's a lot of volatility.